Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm here to give you my review of Furyborn by Claire Legrand. I was lucky enough to get an ARC of this through NetGalley in exchange for an honest review, and you guys, oh my goodness, I am predicting that this book is going to be like the next big thing. It's flipping amazing. There's been a bit of buzz about it, and you know, I'm always a little bit skeptical when there's a lot of hype about a book because sometimes it's unwarranted. Let me tell you, in this case, the hype is totally warranted. And I'm really impressed too because it's a book coming out through a smaller publisher, but it's so good. It's so good. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, tell you why I liked it, why I think you should probably read it, but I'm also going to talk about some trigger warnings that are in the book because there are a lot of them. So do be aware of this going in. There is definitely mature content in this book, so it may not be for everyone, but I loved it. It was absolutely a 5-star read for me. This book comes out on May 22nd. I do plan on going to the launch party in New York City for this book as well, which I'm really excited about, meeting the author because I'm just so impressed with it. So Furyborn is a epic fantasy novel that is dual perspective. It follows two female characters, Riel and Eliana, and they are very interesting because they live thousands of years apart in time, but both of them are instrumental to a lot of things that are happening, and they hold the fate of the world in their hands. And this is the beginning of their story. It's going to continue on, and I need book 2 yesterday. It's so good. I love this is like one of the rare books where I read the ARC, and I am definitely going to be going out and buying a physical copy because this is one that I'm going to need to have for sure. It's a very dark fantasy novel. It is feminist. It's extremely diverse. It is so well written. So one of the things that I love about it is the characters. Like, you guys, the characters and the relationships, not only the main characters, I love both of our main characters. They are badass women who are very strong. They are very complex. They're neither obviously good or evil, and you see them pulled in different directions. They are real people, real women, and so many of the side characters too. They're amazingly well fleshed out. You get wonderful relationships. You do get some romantic relationships, which I think are done really well. You get a brother-sister relationship that's very sweet. You get positive female friendships, which is wonderful, something that you don't always see a lot of. You see family relationships, parent-child relationships. You see positive ones and you see negative ones. I was just like blown away with the nuance and the complexity of the characters and of their relationships with each other, and then how they're relating to the larger world with all of the intrigue and various things that are going on, because there's a lot going on at the same time. And I just thought it was so well balanced. The pacing is really good. The chapters are on the shorter side, and they do alternate back and forth between perspectives, and it keeps you moving. I blew through this. This book is over 500 pages long, and I finished it so fast. Like, you just want to keep reading. It's really good. The world building I thought was really good. I wanted more of it. It wasn't bad, it was good, and you do get a good bit of world building and culture, but I just wanted more. I just want to know more about the world. I want to know more about the culture, the religions, the magic system, the way that people train in it, and you get bits and pieces of it, but I'm just like hungry for more of it. Like, I would read a book about that because it's super interesting. It's a really expansive world, and it also expands across time too, which I thought was pretty cool. And you get some pretty interesting, creepy villains in the story that aren't always villains. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So at the core of this is you've had this centuries-old struggle between humans and angels. I don't know that they're really angels, like we don't know much about them, but they're powerful, and I don't want to spoil anything, so that's all I'm going to say, but it's very interesting. Things to be aware of. This book is marketed as YA. I do question that. It feels very adult to me. I would say maybe a mature teenager could read this. There is some explicit sexual content. Not a ton of it, but there is definitely some explicit sexual content. This is like, I don't know. It's funny because this is in some ways maybe what you would want the ACOTAR series to be. Like, if it took steamy romance a bit and then put it into a book that's actually a really well written high fantasy, yeah, that's what this is. It's so good. It's like, it's so good. Oh, It's another one I'm going to reread at some point. I loved it. Okay, I'm going to read off the trigger warnings that I came up with for my Goodreads review. If you want to read an in-depth review, check out my Goodreads. It's always linked in the video description down below, and I wrote a pretty long review on this one. I had a lot to say. So there are trigger warnings for violence, death of children, death of parents, torture, non-graphic sexual abuse. There's probably other things too. So it is darker. However, at its core, it does feel hopeful. And in a lot of ways, this is, I think, about what it means to keep your humanity, even in the midst of a lot of darkness and a lot of pain in the world, and how to believe in a better future, even in the face of great darkness. And so I thought that was beautiful, and it's really, really good. So be aware of what you're getting yourself into. All of those things do exist in it. It is a darker book. It is more mature. I question it being marketed as YA. This definitely could have been an adult fantasy or a new adult fantasy, but you know, it is what it is. Last thing I want to talk about is, I say that this book is diverse and it is feminist, and it is, and I want to talk about what I mean by that. So obviously you have two powerful women as protagonists, which is great. You have the positive female friendships, which I mentioned, which is fantastic. But there are also these like little things thrown into the books that you just get sentences here and there, which I thought were really interesting. For example, there are male sex workers, like male prostitutes, not just female ones, which is kind of interesting. There's also this brief mention of a harem that includes both men and women, and so they've got different places for the men versus the women being kept, but they're both part of somebody's harem, so that I thought was really interesting. So there's just like little things where like the gender dynamics are tweaked from what we have come to expect, and I liked it. I appreciated it. You do also get some LGBT representation. One of our main characters is bisexual. We don't see her in a relationship with a woman, but we know that she has had a relationship with a woman. You've got two men that are married to each other. There's, I think, a couple other examples of it throughout there, but there is that kind of representation. Also, I just want to say, please, somebody, if you're artistic out there, I wish I was after reading this book, because this book was like made for fan art. I can see it in my head, I just can't draw. So unfortunately, I can't make the fan art, but I'm looking forward to seeing your fan art, because this book needs fan art for sure. So overall, I just really love this book. Be aware of the content warnings I mentioned, but I really loved it. It sounds like my youngest child just woke up from his nap, so I've got to stop filming, but that is what I wanted to say. Talk to me in the comments down below. Let me know if you guys have read this, if you plan on reading it. I would love to chat with you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.